Welcome to the Scared But Not Damaged podcast, a podcast that supports, empowers, and inspires women that have experienced abuse or experiencing emotional trauma or pain. This podcast will challenge you to push against the tides and rewrite your story. On this show, I will be sharing some of the principles of Scared But Not Damaged, a life that has gone through adversity and abuse and has come out strong in spite of life's challenges. Despite the scars, your worth and your value remains intact and undamaged. Each week, we will discuss topics like what is abuse, what are the red flags that you are in an abusive relationship or marriage. I am your host, Naomi. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Scared and Not Damaged podcast. Whoa. We are on episode number 10. Can you imagine? Yeah, we're on episode number 10. And you're welcome to this week's episode. And I have with me a very special guest. And today we'll be talking about a topic that is very, very dear to my heart. Today we're talking about the reason people stay in abusive relationship. And I have a wonderful guest. She's a sister, she's a friend, she's a lover of God, she's a mom, she's a beautiful woman. I have the pleasure of welcoming Bisi Gbadebo to my show. Bisi, I welcome you to the show.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming. I know you're such a very busy woman. You're very, very busy. We've been canceling, rescheduling, and today we finally made it. So we finally brought you to this show today. Thanks for making time to show up for this interview.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you so much. Before we go in, I would like to introduce the Bisi to the listeners. Bisi is a thriving survivor of domestic abuse. She's a transformational life, trauma, and mindset coach. She supports, and empowers victims and survivors of domestic abuse to recover from trauma that they have experienced, to rediscover themselves, to build their confidence and help them transition from that place of pain into their God-given purpose. Wow. That is so much. That is like, whoa. That's a lot. I just want listeners, you guys give it up for Bisi here. And she's been doing some wonderful work. You can find her on Facebook and other social medias. I'll be leaving that at the end of at the end of the show. So I just want to welcome you again, Bisi, for honoring this invite.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Okay, so I guess a lot of people. Do you have anything? I would like to know more about you. What fun fact would you say? What's the fun thing about you that you like to tell us?
Fun thing, yeah. I love to sing. I love to sing. I love to sing. I love to read, and I love walking, going for walks.
Oh, yeah. I hate walking. For walks, but it has to be done. Okay, that's nice. Great to know. Well, is there anything I missed out while introducing you, or is there anything you'd like to tell us?
I'm also a nurse. I'm and an educator.
Right.
I'm a mother of 4.
Wow.
And a grandmother as well.
Wow.
So, and I help, like you mentioned, I help and I support victims and survivors of domestic violence. Yeah. And because that's what I didn't get when I was going through domestic violence. So I help and support them to move from that place of pain, to change their mindset, to build up confidence and to into their God-given purpose, manifesting their highest
Highest
self.
self.
Yeah.
Powerful. Powerful. Thank you so much for that intro. Thank you so much. I know a lot of people always wonder because people don't know the impact of domestic violence on or abuse on the victims becoming survivors. At the time, people never know. To them, it's like, I mean, you're having an issue with your husband, settle it. And
Hmm.
even as victims at that time, people don't know the impact of what or the extent to the damage or the significance of
Hmm.
of the impact on us at that time
Hmm.
as victims until you step out of that place. While you're
Yes.
there, you're going through it, but you don't know how much it has impacted negatively on you until you leave. Am I correct?
Yes. 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 That's true. That's true.
So I'm just going to
That's
start with that, then go further. And people always wonder, okay, well, you think it was so bad. Why did you not leave? And that's why we're doing this topic today.
oh
When did you
yes.
first realize you were in an when did you first realize that you were in an abusive relationship? I'll start with that.
Okay. I first realized I was in an abusive relationship. I don't say few years after the marriage. Yeah, in the early years. In the early years.
When you got into
Yeah.
the marriage. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Yeah.
a lot of people say that too because it's not too long that they start showing themselves because you're not living together, the true person
Oh
comes out.
yes. Oh
Then people
yes.
always wonder, why did you stay?
Mm. Why I stayed? Well, I stayed in that relationship for 16 years,
Hmm.
and there are so many reasons why people stay and why I stayed. And one of them, I would say, is due to my belief, due to my belief that, okay, marriage is forever, for better, for worse.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, for better, for worse, and thinking, okay, you're going through this stuff now. This is the worst. This is the worst that you kind of when leaving home, they kind of prep you that, oh, marriage is for better, for worse. It's not a bed of roses. So you have to endure it. You
Hmm.
understand? I'm sure some people can relate to that. That you have to, whatsoever, you experience there is part of,
Yeah, it's part
is
of the
part
whole
of,
marriage
is part
package.
of, yeah.
Yeah.
So you kind of have that at the back of your mind thinking, okay, but later you think, this can't be part of this. This is
Hmm.
not. This is not life.
Hmm.
This is not marriage. So that's one thinking. You know what? I can work this out. I need to persevere.
Yeah, and
I need.
endure.
And sometimes what kind of also kept me going. Sometimes you go to church and you hear these messages that don't give up, is when you're about
Hmm.
to give up that things turn around, and things that you think about it that, okay, let me not just give up right like that. Give it a go, keep trying, and you keep trying and trying and nothing changes. So
Yeah.
anyway, that's one for me. And also, not wanting to have a broken marriage or broken home. You want your children to have both parents at home with
Have
them.
a
You want to
father
grow
figure,
up.
like I say. Yeah. To be a
Yeah,
complete family. Yeah.
yeah. So that was a big one for me as well. That what, I know where I'm coming from, and I don't want that for myself. And so I was like, what, I have to just make this work.
Work.
And yeah, um, also, thinking that, okay, marriage, that which now I now understand it better. The scripture that says, "Oh, God hate divorce." God hate divorce. That okay, I can't divorce. I can't. You just have to. And all these sayings that you hear over the years, marriage is forever. Oh, you're thinking, okay, I don't want to be the first in my family that
family to have a divorce.
yeah, I don't want to be the first, and so many things going on, in my mind then, that okay, another thing would be the children as well. Like I said, you want your children to have both parents there, but that that is not helpful to the children,
Yeah.
in the sense that, if they keep seeing that happening all the time, that is not an healthy environment for
Environment
them
for
to
bringing up kids.
continue to grow up in. Yeah. So also, you think, okay, how would I survive? How do I survive on my own?
If you
How
leave.
do you do it? And again, coming from another part of the world, coming into the country here, not knowing a lot of people, not knowing how to go about it,
Yeah.
not having enough support. There was no
Fear and
support.
anxiety.
Yeah, yeah, there was no support. So would you? There was no one to turn to and ask all these questions. And even those that were around, they don't even know
Much.
how
Yeah.
to help. They don't even know how to help. So yeah. So for me, that's another reason why. I wouldn't say why I stayed. I would say it why I stayed for longer
Mm.
than I should. So yeah. So those are. Then you won't even be thinking about it, that, oh, I want to stay because of this. I want to stay because of that. But you just, that's part of your life. That's what's going on. Then that's what you're thinking about. But at the same time, it's just difficult to just pack your bags and leave, especially when you
Absolutely.
have younger children. Where do you go? So financial part of it, not um thinking that I don't have enough to start off on my own. So where do I go? Where do I start from? So those are all the things that were going on in my mind. And that, okay, when I now realize that, what, this is it, I need to do something. I
Yeah.
can't just continue like this. So yeah, that was when I started thinking about that. Where do I start from? Where do I go? Where do I get the information that I need? And yeah, so
So, so those were the reasons, because when I speak with every survival of domestic violence, the women I've spoken to, the reasons you gave are all the reasons they gave as well. And
yeah,
some of them, at the time they were experiencing domestic abuse, there was no
mm,
information out there.
yeah,
People you
yeah,
talk to is either they are hiding it, or but nobody came forth to say, okay, I know this person went through abuse. This is what they did. Since nobody
mm,
talks about it, you are afraid. You want to keep your
mm,
family safe. You're not going to talk about it as well. So nobody talks about it. So at the end of the day, you we all you're kept in the dark, and because of
yeah,
fear, and you
yeah,
don't want to expose, and because of the religious belief and backgrounds that we'll have, oh,
yeah,
marriage. And like I said, I was speaking to a marriage counselor and a marriage and relationship coach last week. I did a podcast with her, and she said to me, nobody goes into marriage thinking they're going to divorce. Nobody.
yeah,
Everybody enters thinking, I'll be forever,
yes,
forever after, or whatever. Forever would leave.
yeah,
Nobody, you think of the end in mind, thinking we'll live and we'll die together.
oh
No,
yes,
divorce never comes in. But
yeah,
like I said, there's no perfect home, but you
yeah,
can
there
have a
isn't.
happy home. So anybody thinking of a perfect home is in mills and bones. You can't say it in real life.
Oh yes,
But
yeah,
when the marriage is abusive, that's where I have an issue. When it's abusive and somebody's life is at stake, or somebody's mental health or physical health, or yeah,
yeah,
then
yeah,
you've got to flee. You don't stay there. You don't call love, because love is not abuse. Love is kind, like the Bible says. Love is
Yes,
kind.
yes, it is. Love is
Love is
kind.
long suffering. Love
Oh,
doesn't
yes.
hurt. Love
Oh,
forgives.
yes.
Oh, so for
Yeah.
an abusive person, that's another spectrum. That's another reality. That's another
Mm-hmm.
ball game. It's not a marriage with a normal person that is not abusive. That one you can work it out. So that's the difference. But at that time, we didn't know. All we knew was what our parents knew. Oh, stay there.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter if it's whatever you're
Yeah.
facing, hang in
Yeah.
there. And again,
Yeah.
stigma. Nobody wants to be a single parent. Is like a plague.
Yes. Yeah.
It's
Yes.
like you're a
That's true.
prostitute if you're a woman. If you left your husband, oh my God,
Yeah.
she's.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
look at you like
So yeah,
you're the
the
victim, but you
environment
become.
we're in didn't help at all because
No, it didn't.
back at home is quite different from being here in the UK because
Yeah,
the like for me, I didn't have that support. I didn't know where to turn to. Now there's so many information out there. You don't even need to be looking. If you go on,
I know.
on
You
social,
find it.
it's all over. It's all over. But then even the police, they couldn't,
Do
they
much.
didn't know what to do then as well. So yeah, so all this not knowing what to do, where to turn, the right resources, information out
Yeah,
there, that
they were
is
not
all
readily
over the.
available as at now.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. And the shame, the shame and the low self-esteem, thinking, okay, how do I do this with my children? How do I do it? Because when the abusers kind of spoken negative words all every day of your life, speaking those words,
Yeah,
and
you
one
lose
day
your
you
you lose
now
your
not
power.
believe in yourself,
Yeah,
thinking, okay, how where do I start from, where do I go? And
absolutely.
yeah, so all these things kind of you
Hinder
know
your move.
that, yeah, a person leaving the relationship when they should have. Yeah,
And
so
like
yeah.
I would always say the fear factor, because when I
Yeah,
was in that relationship,
fear of the
I
unknown.
had this fear factor. Even
Mhm.
till when I left, there's this fear that even when I want to do anything on my own, I'm always so. The fear just comes in. I just believe somebody's
Mm,
out to get me. Nobody's there to help me. So I always believe
mm,
not finding help. So that
mm,
has impacted me significantly. So
mm,
it's something that is huge. And
mm,
like I would say, I don't know if you can tell us any impact, how this has impacted you as a person, the impact of this abuse on you.
mm. Oh, that's a big one for me in a way. So, the impact of domestic abuse in so many ways. One of it is the self-esteem, which I thank God, that God has healed me in
Amen.
that area. Coming out and talking about it is a big, it's a big
Yeah,
one
it's a
for me.
big deal. Yeah.
Yeah. So my health-wise, yeah, it did impact health-wise, um,
Mm.
and I think that would be the major one for
The
me
major
would be my
impact.
health. Yeah. So, but I thank God. I
Mm.
thank God for that. Yeah. Um, Leaving the abusive relationship was the best decision
I
ever.
know.
Is the best decision ever.
You've
So,
ever made. Yeah.
yeah. So, but I thank God that I was able to rise out of the depression, fear,
Mm.
confusion, and all that. To today be thriving and helping others. I thank God for that.
Yeah. That's good. Thank you so much for how you've answered that. Yeah, because all the people, almost all of them that I've spoken to, the impact it has on them, self-esteem, their identity, they lost themselves. Some people, it did affect them in their speech, then
Mm,
memory loss, and it did affect them with their health, high blood pressure, different fibromyalgia, different health issue complication as a result
Yeah.
of domestic violence. And
Oh
people don't
yes. Oh
understand.
yes.
Some people think it's only when they beat you. Beating is part of
It's
it, which
not
can give you
only.
psychological scar forever. Then the ones they did
Yes.
not beat too is as terrible as the ones they beat. So it's
Yes.
not a good thing.
It's
Uh,
the words,
Domestic
the negative
abuse, it's
words.
bad, whether physical, verbal, emotional, psychological. It's all the impact and the suffering are all the same for the victim.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
suffer the same. The loss of identity, they can-guess yourself, you doubt yourself because you've been
Yeah, all the
manipulated
time.
for so long, and it starts with the mental torture. You start
Mm,
asking
mm,
yourself, those people are really the mastermind is something they've mastered, that act of manipulating. So anyone that can come out of abuse, it looks tough at the beginning. And then in our own time, there was no help. But
yeah.
when you look each day, yeah, you're dying. Like I keep saying, people die inside. They are not dying on the outside. Sometimes even on the outside, because health-wise, you're going. So the
Yeah.
best thing is if you can run. And that's why I always say to people, kindly be empathic with people. When someone even opens up to
Yeah.
you, don't shut them down. Don't say, quiet, oh, don't talk. Oh, people have problems in their mind. There's a difference between problems and difference between abuse.
Oh yes.
Abusive marriage is a death sentence. Help that person. Tell the person to seek for help. Or tell
Oh
the person
yes.
to pack. You must not die there. They didn't say marriage is for enduring. Marriage is
Yeah.
for enjoyment. If you
It's for
cannot
enjoyment. Yes.
enjoy your marriage, then there's no point getting married. That's what Pastor Adejuwon will always say. Marriage is for enjoyment, not to be endured. It's to be enjoyed. You people are meant to be partners. If you cannot enjoy, then who opens their eyes and jumps into a lake of fire? Nobody. And that's what abuse is, a lake of fire.
Oh
You
yes.
don't
Oh
know until
yes.
you sign the contract. And once you've signed it, the abuse, it starts almost immediately. Once they know you married them and they know they've locked you in, you see the abuse in no time. Not too long from when you married them. That's just the truth. Thank you so
Yes.
much for telling us about the impact it had on you. Thank you so much. I was just
Thank you.
wondering, what made you leave? After so many years, at what point did you decide to say, hey, before I die here, let me go? What triggered, what made you make that decision to say, hey, I think I need to leave now? Why when, at what point, or when did you make that decision?
I think it just got to a point that I just I just said to myself, I've had enough. I've
Mm.
had enough, I kept saying it, I've had enough. I've had enough. And also, I think God really helped me in a way, thinking that, knowing that this child of mine, I need to get her out of this hot, what will I call it? Hot soup or what, I just
Yes,
want to use
toxic
yeah.
environment.
I just need to get her out of here. I just need to get her out of here. And I heard that voice clearly, so, and the moment I knew that, God doesn't want me in an oppressive situation,
Mm.
everything changed. Everything changed. I didn't see myself as
Helpless.
being helpless or oppressed anymore. I now was able to speak up. I was able to.
Mm.
I kept saying anything. I said no. I stood my ground. No,
Yeah.
no. So and so when I now stood my ground and I was able to speak up, as in
I stop you
speaking
there.
back and
Sorry.
saying that, what, I no, you can't do that. No, I'm not school. You're not going to do that. So then I could see that, okay, it's like power change and kind of.
Well, can I take you back? Sorry. Before you stood
Okay.
your ground, I was just going to say you were now getting information. You were now well informed. You had knowledge.
Yes,
Because
I was
knowledge,
well
they say it's
informed. I've
powerful.
heard.
Domestic violence, most times people don't have knowledge, and that's why they are powerless. But when they now
Yeah.
have knowledge, you'll be like, can I get help? They
Yeah.
start building that confidence, and that's when,
Yeah.
I think that's it
Exactly.
happens
Yeah.
to many of us as well. There's
Yeah.
the time you now start getting, because for me, I was going online because I didn't know what was happening to me. I was like, this very young, sharp. I was a banker when I was back in my country, and how did I become someone that didn't even know left from? I didn't even know. I could not even identify I was still a banker, or did I graduate from university or not, or I didn't know. I lost myself. And when you lose yourself, that's the highest crime that can happen to anyone. For someone to take your self-esteem and your identity. Your identity is your most powerful, valuable possession. If you lose it, that's like losing. People say, clutch your pearls.
Yeah.
Clutching your identity is you. Your identity is your personality, is what God gives you as your person, your thing. Your identity is your purpose. It's the reason why you're alive. That unique thing God gives to you.
Oh yes.
And yet another human being takes it from you. That's inhuman. That's not humanity. That is against violating your human rights. Wow. That's what domestic violence is, a violation of human rights. No one should go through it.
Yeah.
And if anybody sees any sign, please report. Rescue people, because people are powerless. You might see them wear clothes, but inside they're like jellies. They don't have strength. They don't understand what's happening to them.
Oh yes. Oh yes. Oh yes. Oh yes. Yeah. So yeah, that was how kind of I took my power back in a way, or God gave me the confidence and the courage, actually the courage to stand up to it and say, you know what, I can't do this anymore. I can't do it anymore. And so that was the time that everything changed. Everything changed, and so I had to get help, and and we just everybody went their different
Your separate
ways.
ways. Yeah. Thank God
Yeah.
for that. Thank
Yes.
God for
Yeah.
you realizing, because sometimes a lot of people even realize they get help, they take them away from there, but because they cannot live without, because they've rubbished them so much, they've made them lose their self-esteem. They
Yeah.
believe they cannot
And
start all over
not.
again, so they run
Yeah.
back
Yeah.
because all they know is the abuser. So the word is like, that's the world they know. They don't know any other thing, because to them
And
it's like
yeah.
that support. And because the manipulator always does the honeymoon phase, where give you the lollipop, give you carrot, and you eat. By the time you want to take more of the carrot, it takes the carrot off the lollipop. And you're like,
Yeah.
I've just only started licking it, and you take, yes. So to them, it's like, why am I living this world where, but they don't know that's pain of moving away is temporary. It's, in
Yeah.
life, for you to get better, maybe you need an operation, you go through it, but after the operation, your healing starts. To them, it
Yeah.
was like that separation is like, let me go back. At least the devil I know is better. But no, that devil, you might end up not waking up the next day. Some people die.
Yeah.
Some
Yeah.
people are
That
strangled in
is
their
true.
sleep. Some people, by the time they beat them up, they die. And because in the past, I think like the government weren't taking domestic violence serious, because then when you have problems, they will just say, oh, it's family problem,
That
not
is
solve it.
true.
But
That is
because
true.
a lot of partners were killing a lot of people were died. They were being murdered by their partners, either partners, husbands, or wife killing. Why? Because of domestic violence. And that's when they start
Yeah.
making laws, putting things in place. When they notice all that, in short, the first thing is they remove the men or the women from that abusive and toxic situation. And they remove the children too. Because any man that is toxic like that to the wife, of course, the children also suffer a huge impact from that environment. So children are being removed as well. But I mean, that's why, like, when I was speaking to this married counselor, I know it's like, if we did our work early,
Yeah.
if we took our time to study who we're going to be with in a relationship, we would have spotted these things, because they are very smart,
But
I know, but we would have seen
that
some
saying
problems.
that, yeah.
Yes,
Continue. Finish
yes,
for your
yeah, we
sentence.
would have, but sometimes we didn't, because we're like, love blinded, maybe we did this, or maybe some of us did not cut for so long, or maybe some of us were pregnant and because of that, like, let me go and marry you, or let me be in this relationship, I'm stuck there, or something, maybe because of something, you understand? But if we took our time, or we saw the red flags, we would not have been where we met ourselves, because we would have known.
But most people,
Yeah.
we can say that now. We can
Yes,
say
that's what I'm
that
saying.
now. But there is no maybe 99 for there. I don't think there is anyone that would be thinking about that then, that my marriage will end up like this, so let
I
me start
know,
looking for
because
one thing,
these
or
manipulators are so perfect when you meet
yeah,
them.
let me start looking for this. No, nobody will be looking out for those things.
I
Although
know.
nowadays, most women are smarter, and it's because there's so many information out there.
And they now see
So
the red
many
flags.
information
They can
out
see the
there.
red flags.
Yeah,
Even before, while they,
and
yeah.
people are speaking up. Even marriage counselors, even churches. If the people go for marriage counseling and all that, they 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 start. They've started include. Included that in all the things they say to them now. So people are more aware. They're more aware of all these things going on. I'm sure they have friends. They've seen it on telly. They've heard it everywhere. So they now pay attention to that.
Unlike
And yeah,
before,
so
yeah. And I'm really glad that a lot of people are speaking up now, because then,
yeah.
while I was going through what I went through, I never heard anybody talk about, oh, this thing happened to
Yeah,
me.
it's
Apart
true.
from the ones we know that, no, though you didn't see, we just know some people, husbands will beat them, or their partners beat them up. You hear, but I've never seen anybody to say, this is the person. But saying there was anything like emotional abuse, I've never heard of it.
Yeah,
Psychological, I never went ahead of it
then
until
people don't
I
talk
was
about
speaking
it.
myself.
It's
Sorry?
like, there people are ashamed. Even when you talk about it, some people just cringe, as
I
if,
know.
why are you exposing your
I
private
know.
stuff, then as if, what, it's a taboo, you can't talk about it, so that also kind of prevent the victim from even seeking help, because if
Yes.
people find it so strange for you to talk about, they just move away and think, okay, this is domestic issue, so don't spread all your clothes or
Your
linen
dirty
out there
linen
for people
outside.
to see. So yeah,
I
and it's
think it's a
because
problem of
there
culture
was
as
lack
well.
of education. Yeah, the
Yeah.
culture part is, yeah, because
Where they, and the one thing they found, I'm really glad when you said you're a nurse, because even doctors, people always believe anybody that gets abused because they are weak, or they believe, oh, you're not smart enough, that's why. No, can happen to anybody. Even medical
it
doctors,
can happen to
their
anybody. Yeah.
husbands have abused them, or their boyfriends. So it's not an intelligent things or thing, event,
At all.
or
At
you're
all.
strong or weak. No, it's just who you meet. The person's
Yeah.
an abuser, an abuser is an abuser. Some abusers are psychologists. Some people are engineers. They're big professionals. The fact that
Oh
they're
yes. Oh
professionals
yes.
or social
Yeah.
worker doesn't mean they're not abusive. Welcome,
Oh yes.
hello. Hello. Even a psychologist that is telling people how to not, they teach people about abuse, they themselves
Oh
are abusing.
yes.
So it's
Oh
an
yes.
individual thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So it's good that because some people might just feel, oh, if I marry this profession, he's a doctor, it cannabis. No, it's not the profession. We are
It's
in
not it's
relationship
the
with human
person.
beings, with
Yeah.
the
It's the
person.
person.
Because sometimes we are moved by, oh, I'm pastor. Hey, a lot of pastors have abused their wives. And
Oh
they're
yes.
still abusing till day because
Oh
of power.
yes. At least even the police. Yeah. Even the police.
Even
Same
police.
thing. Uh-huh. So
So you think it's
any
the police that is
profession,
supposed to save you,
any
still abusing
career.
their partners. So what are we saying? We're living in a world where information is just power, and looking like I did a talk on a podcast on red flags. So looking at those red flags, you
Yeah.
just but it's sometimes some of them are very smart. So you really need to pray and open your eyes and your ears that you don't meet those kind of people, because they play it so well, they're like near perfect. It's only when you've now been hooked on, they show you that true color. So it's a journey where I don't blame victims or survivors. What I do is because we tend to blame ourselves. We're the
Yes.
victims and we're not the perpetrator. We blame ourselves for somebody doing evil to us. So that's the thing. And that's why now it's okay. Thank God we're out. A lot of people didn't make it out. Some people died there. Some people are so unwell that they cannot recover from the illness. That's as a result of the impact of domestic violence. They are still suffering it till tomorrow. It has made them vegetables. It has made them lose their memory, lose everything, and they're struggling. Can't even get
Yes,
their
that's
identity
true.
back. Yes.
That's true. That's true.
So I
That's
celebrate
true.
every woman or every
Yes.
man, because some men are also still abused. I was watching a documentary once where in England a man was
Yeah.
being verbally, no, physically abused by his partner, and
Mm,
the wife would throw things, beat him up, and all that. The girlfriend wasn't a wife. So I think this last one, I think whenever it happens, they goes to the hospital. But this last time, that I don't know what she tried, she was violent at him. They took him to the hospital. He didn't make it back. He
oh
died in the
no.
hospital. So that's the
Mm,
woman being
mm,
abusive to a guy, a man.
yeah.
So some
And I
people,
think it's because men
they
don't
don't
say
speak out
anything. They don't speak up.
at
Yeah,
all.
there's
Yeah.
so
So you
many
can
men
imagine
going through domestic abuse that they're not speaking up because of that shame, of that
stigma.
stigma
You
that,
can't say a woman beat you up.
how come you, a man, that's, yeah. So, yeah, men do go through domestic
Abuse as
abuse
well.
as well. Yeah.
So we pray,
And they
we
should
just
speak up. Yeah.
yeah, we're using this medium to speak to people that we know it's prominent, is prevalently women that are being abused, but some percentage of men are being abused as well, because
Yes,
some
that's true.
women are
Yeah.
just abusers as much as they
Mm,
are men that are
mm,
abusers. So we're just
mm.
keeping that awareness out there for people.
Yes,
Thank you so
yes.
much for
Mm.
sharing that. What
Thank
piece
you.
of advice, we're coming to the end, what what piece of advice would you give single people out there looking to get married, or before they say I do, or people in a relationship, you're trying to go into a relationship with someone, partnership, Um,
Mm.
what advice would you give them, or what things would they look out for before they say I do?
Yeah, so for the singles, what I would say, yeah, now that there's so many information out there, so they should know all the red flags.
Flags. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they should probably go and read it up and know all the red flags. And also another thing is that not to now be carrying the red flags and be looking, and so they need to also pray to God to lead them to that's the first thing, to lead them to the right person that
Yeah.
he he has chosen for them, the right
Yeah.
person that they, they'll work together and things will be okay. A person that's their friend,
Mm.
not their enemy, a friend. And also, I shared this the other day, also, which is First Corinthians 13, that says love,
Mm.
that talks about love. Love does not suffer long. Let me just, if you don't mind, I would like to read it.
No, that's fine. That's fine.
I would like to read it. So it says that, I'm going to it now. It says that though, if love suffers long and is kind. So is this person kind? Does love does not envy? Love does not parade itself. Love is not does not seek its own. So
Mm.
when for the singles, they should read that First Corinthians 13
Mm.
and think and go over it. Love, does this person, does this person, okay, sorry, I'm trying to read it from there and something has blocked my view. So I'm going back to it, sorry. So does this person think of me as does not envy me, is not jealous, does not feel does not hold on please, this thing is just blocking my view. I want to be able to read it. uh, Hold on. Okay, now I'm on it.
Mm.
does not behave rudely, does not seek his own,
Yeah.
is not easily provoked. Because you see some people, even before they get any small thing, they'll be angry and start shouting, or slam the door and walk out.
Mm.
When someone start doing that before you get married, know that he will
That's
do
a
more of
sign.
that.
Mm.
He will do much more of that, when you're married together. It does not, he bears all things,
Mm.
hopes all things, endures all things. So
Mm.
can you see these qualities in this person? The fruit of the spirit as well, that it says self-control. Does this person have self-control? If they don't have self-control before you marry, of course, oh no, that's so all these things, not that you go out looking and looking, oh, does this person this person is something that, read it and kind of pay attention as well. Open your
Yeah.
eyes, pay attention. Don't just ignore things and say, oh, it will change.
I know that never
They
works
don't
out. If you
change.
can, people don't change
They
as
it just
adults.
gets, yeah, it just gets
It gets
they don't
worse.
change. Yeah, they
Mm.
don't. It gets worse. You just see from one episode to another. So
And
yeah, please. And if people are saying to you, pay particular attention to this, do pay attention. And if you see it, if it starts shouting at you, even before you get married, and
mm,
tell you can't go out with this, you can't go out, you can't go there, you can't speak to this person, pay
those are red
attention to
flags.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't do
Mm.
this, and maybe for days he won't speak to you because you had an
Those are
argument or
signs.
something.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
those are signs.
Mm.
Well, if if when you get married, he will do much more. He will do
Mm.
much more, and probably for weeks he won't speak to you. Even months, both of you be in the house, and you just be doing your own thing.
Yeah.
So please,
Yeah.
all those things are signs that you should pay particular attention to. Before you get married. Love never fails.
Mm.
So love is kind, love is patient. So yeah, that would be my advice
Okay.
for the
Thank you
singles.
so much.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Because sometimes because when a subject is not being talked about, like this
Mm-hmm.
domestic violence, but
Mm.
every day I come across people online everywhere, you just realize, oh my God, this is more than we thought. It's
Yeah.
like everybody you see, like I'm like, really? So that means like half of the world or more than half has
Mm.
gone through abuse. So what are we talking about? It's more
Mm.
than we think. It's not a small
Mm.
number of people. Because when
Mm.
you see here, there, the huge number of people that domestic violence or domestic
Mm.
abuse has affected, it's so
Yeah.
huge, a not large number, and yet
Yeah.
still some have not spoken and some have died and nobody knows
Yes.
what
Yeah.
happened to them.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'd just like to say thank you so much for
Mm-hmm.
coming to this show. I know you
Thank
have a
you.
platform. I would like you to tell us what your platform is or your
Mm.
platforms are.
So I'm on Instagram as BCG. That's BISSYG.
Okay.
And yes, and I've got a YouTube channel for Restored Hope podcast, and
Restored
of
Hope
course, yeah,
Podcast. Yeah.
Hope podcast, and I'm also on Facebook as Restored Hope. Yeah,
Okay.
this is
Yeah.
yeah,
I
this
forgot to
is
say she's a podcaster as well. So sign up to her podcast. Can you tell us your podcast name again, please?
yeah, it's called Restored Hope
Restored
podcast.
Hope. Yeah. So thank
Yeah, so
you, Bisi. Thanks for coming and
thank you very
thanks for
much for
honoring
having me.
this place, this platform, and thank you. And we love you. And thanks for being here again. So
Thank
have a
you,
good time. Yeah.
thank you.
Bye.
Bye, thank you.
Bye. Thanks for joining us this week on the Scared But Not Damaged podcast. Make sure you follow us on Instagram at Scared But Not Damaged so you don't miss a show. Kindly subscribe to the show so you know when new episodes are released and leave us a review so we can continue to bring you amazing episodes. Thanks for listening and see you next week.